Hello, everyone. Welcome to our special program, Meet the Mayor of Swindon, Gary Parkins, hosted by and Bangla TV. Today, we are going to introduce Mr. Mayor of Swindon, appointed for the year 2020 to 21. And obviously, the Payslip Accountants, every year, we do celebrate the mayor ceremony. This year, we couldn't able to do on our office, but we try to do virtually and introduce Mr. Mayor with our audience. Today, I wanted to introduce all of our guests. I wanted to introduce the former mayor of Swindon, Mr. Kevin Perry.
Good evening, everybody.
I would like to introduce our former mayor, Mr. Janabali.
Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
And also, I would like to introduce our chief guest, the mayor of Swindon. I think he got some issues on is the technical problem on his system devices. That's why we he's hearing, but there is a problem on his system. Okay, so let's talk about the COVID-19, and the program is designed to get the experience from all of our guests, how they dealt with the COVID-19. First, I wanted to go the former mayor of Swindon, Mr. Kevin Perry. If you can please share your experience.
For myself, obviously, when the virus COVID-19 first came into effect, I was still the mayor, and it was like overnight the tap just turned off. I would say, obviously, the way that it affected the country and the way that we dealt with things, and like the events. So for my year as mayor, the events just turned off overnight. So I had lots of things all booked in and planned, and literally one after the other, like a dominoes effect, those things cancelled. So obviously we had to change the way we operated and that lot. And so it went to more of a volunteering role, so helping and supporting residents locally. And that was helping deliver medical supplies and things like that, and obviously telephone conversations with residents. And I went out on the bins to help them, because obviously our staff as well, they had to shield. So it massively changed things. And I think as well, what really shone through is the community side of Swindon. I know that former mayor Junab Ali said to me about the community spirit and the groups of people and that lot, and I know that myself, but I think that this COVID virus really that shone through and showed how the residents of Swindon really stepped up and worked together to help other people through this situation. And it was it's really humbling to see from that, and from like the clapping on the doorsteps for the NHS staff and the key workers. We're not over this pandemic by no means, but obviously we seem to be going in the right direction, and I'm sure that we'll come out of it a stronger community, and Swindon have certainly played their part with the residents, and it's great to see, so it's been a challenging time, no question, but we are a strong community and we'll shine through it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gary. Kevin Perry. Hello, sir. There is echo coming in. Now I wanted to go with our chief guest, Mr. Gary Parkin. So can you hear me, Mr. Gary?
I can hear you well, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to, ask you, so could you share your experience, how you dealt with the COVID-19 as you are joining during the COVID period.
Well, obviously, the COVID-19 virus has already was affecting Swindon as well as the rest of the world. And so I became the first virtual mayor. It meant that we're already in lockdown and therefore couldn't take up the role as mayor as one would normally expect. The role is really very much about meeting people and talking to people and communicating. Unfortunately, been in lockdown actually for the last few weeks. So it's been very, very difficult. This is only the first event that I've been involved in. And as you gather, IT isn't my strong point. I'd much rather be talking to people and helping the people and the community rather than actually at a distance as we are now tonight. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward that the virus actually steps back rather than being very much ruling our lives, so we can get some normality back. I'm not expecting that to happen immediately. It could take another probably till September, October before we see any form of normality and enabling me to take up the role of mayor at that time. So I'm looking forward to it very much. I know Kevin and Junab have both had fantastic years, and unfortunately, my year's going to probably be about 6 or 7 months actually, but one can get an awful lot to happen in that time because there's so many groups within the community of Swindon that I want to come out and meet and understand. I've been in Swindon now for over 30 years, but I'm always learning about new people, new events, the way that the town actually pulls together. As Kevin said just now, that Swindon has stood up very, very well actually to this virus. And community spirit has been fantastic, actually, supporting everybody that's needed support. But it's really getting over the next part. It worries me to a concern that, in fact, that we talk about the COVID virus being beaten, but there's still an awful lot of people are catching it, spreading it, and again tonight there was another 150 or so deaths in the UK, which is still much too many to even consider having back to normality. So it does worry me just how long it is before we can actually say that we have control of this virus.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are a lot of viewers and our Facebook friends. They already joined with us. I introduce with you is a Shan Ahmed. He's worked for British military. He's saying good evening, Mr. Mayor of Swindon.
Good evening. Hi.
And is an IT consultant, Mr. Sanjeev Das. He's saying good evening to everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. Hi.
And
you have a question?
We got a very good friend, Ujjani Mujumdar. She is writing a very nice message, and she is welcoming Mr. Jonah Bali, Mr. Kevin Perry, and obviously our new mayor. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us.
Thank you for those warm welcomes.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I would like to ask the experience of our former mayor, Mr. Jonah Bali. If you can, please share your experience with us.
Right, good evening, everyone. This COVID-19 is something no one's lifetime have crossed this or in the history of any kind of pandemic that we have been in this situation. And so this has brought out in us. And while I was the mayor of 2018-19, I saw our voluntary sector. It's just unbelievable that we have so many good people who volunteer to help in our community, in every sphere of society, give their time, money, and other actions they do. So in this period of COVID-19, we have seen the best of people in our community, and it has brought out, that ordinary people are heroes, not just, some one or two heroes, but every single person is a hero in themselves. Because if we look at our NHS, I don't think we ever, congratulated our nurses and, and thought about them as our heroes. Even doorstep people who are, managing security at supermarkets, people who work in supermarkets, people who drive buses. And the former mayor, Councillor Parry, has said he even went to help with our rubbish collection. Because if those people didn't work, then we would just come to a complete standstill. And if people didn't go out and help our vulnerable and elderly people get their medication, give them food, give them help and support, which I have signed up to Compassion Swindon, and I have been doing that myself for the last couple of weeks as well. So I think this situation, although is tragic and unfortunate, but it has brought out the best in all our communities and in our town and in our country. So for that, I think we will, once we see this out, we will see a stronger community, stronger Swindon, and stronger United Kingdom.
Thank you, Mr. Former Mayor of Swindon, Janavali. Thank you for your short briefing. I just wanted to give a quick update from the HMRCs, what was coming for the self-employed support scheme. As you know, all the self-employed people, there was a first phase of self-employed support scheme, which will be end to claim for 13th of July. So if anyone is missed out to claim for the self-employed support scheme, please do apply to claim by 13th of July. And obviously there is a second phase, our Chancellor is announced. So the second phase will be coming on August. So please do apply before 13th of July for the first grant. Now, I wanted to go back again, Mr. Kevin Perry, need to ask about his experience. Obviously, during the COVID period, we have seen his volunteering, his collecting litter, and he is doing a lot of community work. If you can please share some experience. And just a minute, I got one phone call from our the friends. He wanted to talk maybe with the Mayor of Swindon. Hello, viewer.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm having actually. So I have some questions. Mayor of Swindon, ex-Mayor of Swindon, especially. So are they hearing?
Yeah, they are hearing. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to special thanks to Mr. Shumon Roy, to organize this program, virtual program, and awareness program for the local community, and also special thanks to current mayor and ex-mayor of Swindon to come for our local community. And thank you. So I have some few questions that could get answered, and I think it would be get our community's questions as well. So I'd like to say it's very great support from UK government and local council that created as the right solution for around the COVID-19 pandemic period. So just we'll just under the budget as well. So are we ready to move forward? I have two questions. Really, just one question on this. Are we ready to move forward now for business and employee for the our local organizations? So next July, that would be open for everywhere and in Swindon as well. And another question, especially on restaurant. So next month, middle of the July, we'll also open. But how do the local council will monitoring instead of the restaurant are following the social distance policy and other policy too? Thank you very much. There are
Mr.
questions to current mayor and ex-mayor
Yeah.
regarding this situation.
Can you-
It will become a follow.
Can you give an answer, Mr. Mayor? Did you hear this message?
I had very bad sound there, but I gather it's regarding about how we go forward from now, isn't it, through the town?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
how we
that's
support
correct. Yeah.
businesses.
Yes.
It's good that that steps are now taken that the town centre opened up this week, and the queues that I've seen around the town have been phenomenal. So the people of Swindon are certainly coming out to support the local shops, which is great, because without that support, we won't have those businesses in the town going forward. But it's not just for the next couple of weeks. I just feel that we have to have a structure in place, actually. Today, it was speaking about the fact that Swindon has never seen this change since the railway works closed. And I fear the same, that in fact, unfortunately, it's timed with Honda also leaving in the next 12 months, that Swindon has to reinvent itself in a way, because the town centre, even though at the moment the shops seem to be doing well, there has obviously been the shutdown time that an awful lot of that trade has moved online, and the town centre shopping will never be the same as it was before. And what concerns is that how long it will actually take to recover. I run a business myself in the town, and have to furlough all my staff during this time, because in fact the interruption has been so great throughout all industry, not only the town centre, the shops, but also manufacturing and everything else. And the concern is really that, well, manyfold, but one is what happens when the furloughing is actually comes to an end in October. Exactly what state the industry in Swindon and the shops will be in at that stage. We're still waiting for the beginning of opening up the tourist trade, the bars, the entertainment, the cinemas, and all the rest, right? We have to work very strong together, the council, the business people, and the residents. And I know Swindon will survive. It always has got this history of actually being able to come back from the brink. So when the railways went, we then became a car town with Honda, BMW. We had Intel and Nationwide banking sectors coming into town. So we have to, rather than sit back and wait, we've actually got to be very proactive, right, over the next 12 months, because that will very much decide the future in the coming years of Swindon. At the moment, the people of Swindon do seem to be standing up exceptionally well, but and I'm sure we will get through this, but we do have to work very closely together, everybody in the town, and all the political parties pulled together. We have to also have the businesses very much involved in the decision making as we go forward. And again, the communities within Swindon the effect that they've had and the help they've actually given and pulled together to create Swindon. We can't allow that to be forgotten once we go through COVID. And this is what I'm particularly like to bring attention to about the work that has been carried out actually by particularly the minority groups, the black and ethnic groups in Swindon. I know done phenomenal, because I keep getting messages about the meals which have been delivered. In fact, I think somebody made a mistake that one of the groups actually came and tried to deliver a meal to me actually last week on that side there. So so there's a phenomenal amount of work has already been said, which is going in Swindon. We've just got to pull that in the right direction now to make sure the town recovers very, very quickly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Let's come to Mr. Kevin Perry, what I was asking. So if you can, how you dealt with all the work during the COVID period.
Okay, yeah, I mean, just to say on what what Gary was saying on the town centre, first of all, it is interesting because obviously people have been locked up in their houses for 11 weeks, and they've done lots of online shopping. We've seen that with Amazon and that lot. But when the town centre opened, you saw there was clear passion to actually shop as the way we used to shop, and like as Gary said, the queues were not phenomenal. So it really was good to see that. And obviously, as Gary has said, that town centres will have to change, and government has given us money to do that, and measures have been put in place to ensure that the safety of residents is key. And I do hope that the residents do carry on supporting the town and keep shopping there, because as Gary says, simply if you don't use it, you will lose it. So it's encouraging, good signs to start with, and let's hope they continue. And obviously the hospitality trade as well kind of work their way forward in with social distancing measures in place and so on to ensure they're safe, but actually get those up and running and to try and keep the economy of Swindon going as strong as we can, and protect those jobs. Swindon is a fantastic strategic place. Yes, we have the closure of Honda, but on top of that, we've already seen new planning applications come forward with potentially a couple of thousand jobs, and we want to see more of that. So Swindon is a town that is open for business, and we need to keep pushing that. And I think all councillors, that's key on their agenda. We understand the situation with COVID, but in the background, as Gary said, we have to be focused on that, and I believe we are. And things are moving forward, so the impact will hopefully be as cushioned as much as we can. With regards to obviously the volunteering work, I not alone, other councillors volunteer. Junab has said about the volunteer work he's done. I think we all recognise the fact that these are unprecedented times. You don't know what's around the corner, and everybody has jumped in, and it's all hands to the deck. Whatever you can do, however big or small that's been, everybody, not just councillors, but people from all walks of life, has jumped in and helped and kept things going, and it's been incredible to see. Gary talked about people delivering meals, and Gary even got one himself. Perhaps they saw his IT issues and took pity on him, I don't know. But as I said, I said in my mayoral speech that Swindon is a community town, and it's built on that, and this town is built on people. I can honestly say that. Junav said that, and Gary said that. We all see it, we all know it, and but when it comes to the crunch, they really do step up and deliver. And so I paid my little part in helping. I said, look, whatever I can do, I'm not a proud man, I'll do whatever. They said they were struggling on the bins, so I volunteered to go on the bins to help them, because we have to keep things going, and whatever that is, we're all a link in a chain, and we need to keep that going. And that's like helping out and delivering medical supplies to people. That we need to ensure those people are shielded and they don't go out and get that medication, and they can stay comfortably in their home. And so driving around and dropping that medication off, it is nothing, but it protects that person and it protects that those lives, and that's what we need to do. And it's been great to play a part of that. And I say, you know, I think we're seeing the numbers, the death tolls are down a lot lower now, and let's hope we can continue that and eliminate that. So we just got to keep going, doing what we're doing. And you know, I was personally say a massive thank you to all those volunteers that have been helping, that haven't been recognised. And I'll be honest with you, some of them, they don't want no recognition. They just want to do the best they can for people of this town. And I have to say a massive thank you to them, because if it wasn't for them, I mean, I know that Junab said to me once before, this town is run on volunteers, and he's right. There are so, if you took the volunteers away, a lot would crumble. So, you know, credit to those people that go out there and do it day in, day out, and have supported the running this town, you know, behind the scenes. And a massive thank you to the key workers, the people that probably in the past didn't get the recognition of what they need. And I think what's come out of this is most interesting is that people now recognise that no matter what job you do, you all play an important part in this running of this town and the country. So whether you're a lorry driver, a person that works in the supermarket, or whatever you do, you are important and you are recognised and you are well deserved, and we appreciate what you've done. So, you know, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Former Mayor Kevin Terry. Let's go to some comments from our friends who wanted to welcome our mayors and our distinguished guest. Afruz Shimi, she is saying, good evening, everyone. And obviously our friend Pemi Dash, she is saying congratulations to the mayor of Swindon. Okay, let's go to again Mr. Jonabali. So, Jonabali, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, okay. So my question is actually, if you can, you know, like give some advice for the small business community. Okay, so how they can put their measures as the government stated their lockdown, you know, like relaxing from last Monday. So could you have any advice for the small business community?
So Shuman, are you talking about the catering industry or small business as a whole?
As a whole, please. Yeah.
As a whole. Well,
yeah, and especially catering industry, if you can explain briefly as well, please.
Well, I think hospitality and catering are linked. So it's with tourism, so pubs and clubs and whatever. That would, I think, would be the final phase to open. So until that phase, we get to that phase, and the government puts down its what kind of health and safety needs to be there, and the distancing rules and regulations, then we are in a no man's land. But what I can say from my understanding so far is that if the especially restaurants, it's going to be quite tough with a 2-meter distancing, and unless that is brought down, then I don't think any restaurants won't be able to have maximum capacity, probably 25% capacity, even less than that. So would that be worthwhile for them to open with a 25%, less than 25% capacity with 2 meters rules? But the government is reviewing every week what it wants to do. Even with 1 meter rule, it's going to be very tough. So, and I think one of your callers talked about how this would be checked and balanced there. I think there is not enough staff, enforcement officers or health and safety officers to go and visit every single premises in our town. So I think people will have to, we have to rely on people's honesty, that they will do their utmost to follow the health and safety guidelines the local council and the government puts down. and I'm sure there will be, unannounced visits to check that people are abiding by those rules and regulations when they come out. So for the restaurants and pubs and pubs and clubs, it's going to be a difficult time until they find when the third phase comes around. So the government will have to, local and national government will have to help them out in the meantime with that. And in generally, all the small businesses, I run a small business, Ramon, so I do understand where they're coming from. I think it's tough on everyone. Everybody knows that, because nobody not even in our history in the world, we have ever seen anything like this. So we just have to be patient, and and just slowly we'll get there. And I think we just have to be patient and resilient. I'm seeing in my business, inquiries have every day is going up now. I think people, once the lockdown slowly unravels, I think people will have that confidence to then get back to normal as possible. I don't mean we will get back to normal before we went into lockdown, but to get back to a normality that we all understand what we had before this lockdown. So I would urge people to be patient, and just have that hope and belief that we will turn the corner. And once we do that, we are all ready to do our bit for locally and nationally to see the town and the country economically grow.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Jonab Ali, the former mayor of Swindon. Let's go for some comments. One of our friends, Mr. Sanjeev Das, is an IT consultant. He's raising a question to our distinguished guest. It can be answered by our mayor of Swindon. Can you hear me, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, thank you. Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. His question is, what advice would you give to families who wish to travel for summer holidays?
I personally think that we have to take care. There are concerns that in China at the moment that there is a second tranche of COVID coming, and yet they'd been free of it for the last many weeks. So I am concerned, and I'm sure many people are actually in this country, about whether we have it worldwide under control enough at the moment to go back as we did in every other year, to go off on our summer holidays around the world. I personally was expecting to be able to go abroad during this summer, as most people would, but I've realised the situation and are looking at maybe putting that holiday off till the end of the year, because I am concerned that in fact that we are trying too fast, too hard to get things back to normality before we fully understand if there are any other issues which are going to come from this virus. It's been, I know it seems a long time since it hit us in March, but it's only been 3 months. And it has been a worldwide pandemic, and there's some countries which are only just starting to see it actually encroaching with their residents. And we don't know at this stage just how long or what effect it will have. There is also at the moment, the government is obviously considering, as far as the 14-day quarantine is concerned, this is going to have a huge effect on our holidays, because let's say the normal working person couldn't take two weeks additional off to quarantine on the way out and on the way in. Now, at the moment, most of our European neighbours are looking at creating this 14 days before entering Spain, France and other countries, right? Based on our present 14-day quarantine for any travellers coming into the UK. I think we need for the government to really get to grips with this area first before we actually step into the holiday season. I personally think that the government will rethink about the 14 days quarantine, because the airlines already said they cannot operate with those sort of restrictions. So I think it's a little early to actually plan. We can all look forward to our summer holidays, but we need to just take it in these steps and not sort of rush too far, because I am concerned that it might come back to bite us again if we're not too careful.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. There is I wanted to share a quick update for the small business, the grant. As you know, the small business, when, like the COVID was started, the government, they announces 10,000 to 25,000 pound, the small business can access the grant. There was some the condition to access this grant. Some of the businesses already have missed to like get this grant. That's why government try to give most of the businesses who can benefit it. So that's why they introduced discretionary grant. So if you can see the the screen, the government support, if you visit Swindon Borough Council website, and if you go to the business support, and then there is a discretionary grant on here. So if anyone still not got their the initial grant, okay, please do visit Swindon Borough Council website and apply for the discretionary grant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now,
can I say on that, actually, regarding discretionary grant, right?
sure,
This is particularly aimed at those, particularly in Swindon. There's a lot of businesses which don't pay rates direct. They actually pay it as part of their actually rent, and they're particularly the businesses in shared spaces who missed out on the initial 10,000, which was set against the rateable value, etc. So this discretionary now is very much targeted, as Suman said, on those businesses which actually missed beforehand. So if you're actually in the shared space and got turned down before, step forward, because this additional money is available. It's in the bank now from Swindon, and so it needs to go to the small businesses, particularly for small bed and breakfasts and other businesses which have premises but don't pay or haven't paid business rents. This is for them. So
thank you, Mayor, for extending the message for the community. Now I wanted to go through with some comment. So he wrote a very nice comment. So Krishna Shaha, he's the president of Jagannath Hall Alumni Association, University of Dhaka. So he wishes best for this program, and then thank you to all the guests. And we got another viewers, one of our clients and friend, Muhammad Mustafa Diaji. So he's giving thank you to everyone as well. And Mr. Sanjeev Dash again. So he's giving thank you to the Mr. Mayor, so answering his question. Now let's go to the Mr. Kevin Perry again. So Mr. Kevin, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you got any advice for the small business community? So on that pandemic period, so how they can run their business? Have you got any idea, alternative idea? So on that period, is a very difficult time. Okay. So as we know, you are working on a very multinational big companies, okay, as well. So have you got any idea you can share with the community that can run their business alternatively?
Well, I think there's lots of help and support out there, and my advice is don't struggle. You've already brought out the Swindon Borough Council website. There's lots of information on there for people to contact Swindon Borough Council. And my advice is, unless it's something specific you want me to actually answer, get in contact, because the officers there are there to help and support. And say that there's lots of government grants that are being brought down, lots of help and advice, even in the town centre of the additional money that's being brought in there to support local businesses. So if there is a business that is struggling, they do need to shout. It's better to shout and get that help and support earlier rather than later. And the government are there to help and support those businesses. So and council officers are very keen to do that. And there's lots of work already going on in the background and supporting those businesses. But there is somebody that is specifically struggling, they do need to shout. That's all I can say. Just please do raise your hand. Don't sit there in silence and struggle.
Thank you, Mr. Peggy. I wanted to go with Jonab Ali again. So, Jonab, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. There is one small question. Okay, so as we got a huge Asian community in Swindon, and obviously, our main trade is the restaurant catering business. As you know, as you already explained about the pub and others hospitality industry. So, have you got any special message for restaurant and catering, how they can run the business alternatively? Because as you know, the restaurant still the people are not obviously the government, they haven't put the measure yet for the restaurant and leisure industry. So when the lockdown will be relaxed, have you got any idea to share with the small our business community?
From what I understand, Shuman, is when times like this and when times bad times, you have to reinvent yourself, innovate, come with innovative ideas, how to change things and improve your business. So this is the ideal time. I know most businesses in catering are where they can have turned to delivery service and takeaway service, and they are doing quite well actually, because there is no eating place, so everyone's the only option if they want to get anything is through deliveries and takeaways. So that will only last until everything is back up to normal, whenever the third phase starts to happen. So this gives them the opportunity between now until the third phase, when catering establishments start to slowly reopen, is to come up with initiatives, and new ideas, how they can improve their business. Sitting capacity. How do you sort out your sitting capacity so that you meet whatever distancing on the third phase will come out with? How do you change your business, entrance and exits, and how your staff work in the premises? So this is the ideal time to do that, and I think Kevin alluded on this, that there is help. There is help from councils and national governments to help businesses to get back on their feet, and and then try to get back to normal when things reopen. But my emphasis would be to everyone: this is the time to reevaluate your business and what you've done well and what hasn't worked before. So this is the ideal time to redirect all that and come back with innovative ideas, because I think the mayor said at the start, for sure the town centre, the high street we see it, will not be like that. I think all high streets all over the country, we are not going to have all these big shops and whatever, because the internet has eaten into it, and this COVID has shown that everything's moved onto internet and delivery service. So we have to be very careful that everything we will not go back to normal. we used to know. So we have to come up with new ways of working.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jonabali, for your nice opinion. We got some the viewers and friends who are watching this program. Mr. Ojit Shah, he's a chartered accountant from London. He's watching. He's appreciating our program as well. Thank you, Mr. Ojit, to watching our program. And there is another our friend, Orun Kumar Hauldar. He's from actually watching from Bangladesh. So he's appreciating as well. He's a
well, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So he got a farm on the outsourcing. Yeah. So he's doing very well. Thank you, Dada, to watching us. And we got another the viewers, Bharna Guel. She's a counselor. No, she was not elected counselor, but she's following for the Swindon community, working for the Swindon community, and she's watching as well. Thank you very much to watching our program. Let's go to Mr. Kevin again. And then obviously we got a short time, 5 minutes to finish our program. So if Mr. Kevin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So finally, I just wanted to know, have you got any message for our the community and on the business, obviously for everyone? If you can briefly say, please.
Well, just to say, obviously, to the community, those people that have helped and supported and continue helping and supported the vulnerable people, a massive thank you, and also to the key workers, the NHS staff that have helped through the COVID virus and continue working. A massive thank you to them. I'm really proud of what they've done, and I think they've really flown the flag for Swindon. So a massive thank you to them, and to the businesses as well that have continued throughout this pandemic. They, like Junab said, have been innovated in the way they've been delivering those services. Had to change the way, and there are new challenges coming ahead. The world does change, and sometimes events happen and make these things happen faster than you expect them to. But I mean, I work for Honda, and when we had the situation of a downturn in 2009, they changed it around and said, change is a chance, what Junab was on about. It's the ideal time to reevaluate yourself and to put yourself in a stronger position. So whilst it may not be ideally what you wanted to happen, and nobody wants to be in this situation, you have to reevaluate now and come out stronger. And I'm sure there are going to be some casualties. There's no question of that. But those businesses that do reevaluate will, I'm sure, come out stronger. And if you can survive this, you can survive anything. So and nobody should give up, and keep working away. And as I said, to the businesses, don't struggle alone. There is that help out there. Don't sit on your hands and 2 months down the line, start putting your hand up, crying for help. If you feel you need that help now, jump onto it, because it is there. The support is there, and the government do want all those businesses to survive. And I'm sure that if you work along with the support, there's no reason, and you are prepared to change, there's no reason why your business won't survive and come out stronger at the other end. So please do shout and survive, like we all want to do in this pandemic.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kevin. I just wanted to go through with the question. She is raising the question to our Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah. So, Ujjani Mujumdar, she's of one of our friend, and then she's doing very well for the community. Her query is, what your vision for the Swindon during your tenure as a mayor, and how do you plan to achieve them, considering?
I want to actually take on board what has actually become very much almost the banner actually from the COVID, and that's the people who are usually forgotten about at the bottom of the workplace. That people now value their work, from the cleaners up to the nurses and everybody else, the lorry drivers and all the community volunteers which have actually stepped forward. This year, I want to actually basically let people know, to actually be able to present to the people of Swindon exactly who has kept Swindon going, as it were. And it's not just the business people, it's just not the councillors, it's not just definitely not the mayor, as it were, there, because he hasn't had the chance to get in there to work. It's the normal residents of Swindon which have stepped up. And I want to actually bring the recognition, right? That's the word that I ask for, the recognition of what those communities and those often overlooked residents have actually done to keep Swindon going. Because Swindon has fared better than most parts of the UK, right? And that can only be because of the residents in Swindon, right? That we have actually succeeded so well in managing the COVID virus. And I want to take that forward so that people within Swindon, and now Swindon is coming up to 250,000 residents, but it's a 250,000 number of individuals. And I just feel that Swindon needs to embrace all the parts of the town, as it were, of all the residents. And whatever I can do on that, that's what I want to do, is wave the flag for most of the little people. And that's not a derogatory statement at all. That's the people who do the actual graft, the people who do the work, as it were, there, and don't always get the rewards which they are due. So that's where I want to actually follow up when the COVID is in a manageable condition, right? That we can actually proclaim exactly how well Swindon has done and actually take that forward and build Swindon's future off that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Is there any special message for the community or the business during the COVID, or if you got any idea to share on your ending?
Well, I think it's actually what the COVID has done is brought a lot of the community closer together. Earlier on, you were talking about how the food businesses could actually and the restaurants could work together. Well, I always thought that, in fact, these large buildings in the town centre would make wonderful food halls, because we have fantastic skills from all around the world within Swindon, from the food point of view, restaurants, and create multinational food halls, get the small businesses working together to actually give Swindon a centre of excellence, as it were, so people can look to Swindon to see how Swindon has overcome not only the economic challenges, but also all the other challenges as well. And I think Swindon is exceptionally well placed, actually, to be a leader in the UK in this area. And but I will say, at the moment, from a small business point of view, is that, and this isn't a political statement at all, but the support the government has actually given during this time and is continuing to give will mean that there'll be an awful lot of businesses which might not have survived will still be there to actually stand and fight again at the end of this COVID. So the thing is, we've got to move forward and look for a good future, right? The COVID virus is with us. We might live with some of the consequences for some time to come. I'm sure the things will change, even down to personal distancing. It's almost becoming a habit now that, in fact, one gives each other space and respects people's space. And I think that will carry on. So I think it's just the future of Swindon. If you believe in Swindon, I came to Swindon 30 years ago. Now Swindon has returned what I expected of it. It is a vibrant town. It is a town of people who have come here to work and to drive the town forward. And it always has relied on that, and I'm sure it will in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Now I would like to go to our former mayor, Mr. Jonab Ali, So, please say a few words for the community.
In this time of COVID-19, and I think the mayor has just alluded on that. I have to say that everyone who's been working out there, every single one, doesn't matter if they're cleaners, bin collectors, to doctors and nurses, lorry drivers, whatever. I think every single one of them are heroes. Okay, and we need to appreciate them, and I appreciate them. So every single one of them, not just in Swindon, all over United Kingdom, they are our heroes, and I hope we appreciate them long after COVID is over. Number two, going forward, I would say to small businesses, and I've just said before, this is the time to, change your way of business, to get a new initiative, find a way to your business, do a better business, and how you market that and whatever. You need to do it now, because when things turn around, you should be able to pick, on that business turnaround. But the other thing I would say is, please, Swindon, I think my colleagues will agree with me. I can remember it ever since I've been around Swindon 42 years, is the fastest growing town in Europe, and still is one of the fastest growing town in Europe. Okay, and Swindon has one of the lowest unemployment rate in the country. We have big businesses, one come and one goes, another one comes. We have the rail. We've built, we've built trains, we've built cars, and we've built planes as well. A lot of people don't know we built fighter planes in the Second World War. So Swindon has everything. We lie in a strategic cross on railways, on motorways, you name it. We are bang in the center of things when things will pick up, and we need to take advantage of that. So get ready, get prepared, and when this COVID is over, take that opportunity to take your business to the next level, because I am proud of Swindon, and I think we will be even better in the future than what we are now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jonabali. Very inspiring, the speech. I just wanted to announce a very small update from HMRC. That the payment due on June. So the government deferred, so anyone can pay that back payment March 2021. And self-assessment, the first payment on account, so which normally the self-employed people, they are paying on July. So the government deferred, so you can pay your payment on 31st of January 2021. And obviously, thank you all our distinguished guests, and then Mr. Mayor, your time, and then it was a great effort from you to explain to the business and our Swindon community, and hope our community can get benefited from this program. Obviously, we're gonna organize similar type of the program in future. Mr. Jonabali, maybe he wanted to say something.
Can I just say, I think we have to applaud our mayor. I think he said this is his first meeting. Is this your first meeting, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
See, so this is a history. Shumon, you have made history. Swindon's first virtual mayor and first meeting of our new mayor, 2020-21 mayor. So you have made history.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Obviously, the Payslip Accountants always support the mayor's charities. We did participate last year and year before as well, the mayor's charities. Hopefully, this year we will support again, and then obviously we will continue our work to support Swindon Mayor's and Swindon Borough Council's charities. And thank you very much for joining with us. And then hopefully we're gonna be organize same type of event future. And thank you again, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shimon. Thank you all the guests
Thank
for
you.
watching. Assalamu
Thank
alaikum.
you.
Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.